Sometimes it's not the story itself, but the backstory that is interesting. On a late Tuesday evening, September 5, 6 journalists got a call from the Coast Guard. "You're coming with us to the Ayungin Shoal." The voice on the other end of the line said, "Okay, that's the cinematic version, but you get the drift." A resupply mission was planned for troops aboard the BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin in the West Philippine Sea. And what journalist would turn down an invitation like that? The next morning, Wednesday, off they flew to Palawan. Hours later, they were on their way. Two of those 6 journalists on that mission, that adventure to Ayungin, are with us tonight. Our very own David Santos, CNN Philippines senior correspondent, and ABS-CBN's Bianca Dava. David, Bianca, their colleagues, and the Coast Guard came back with a story, a backstory, and an experience, an adventure, a lesson for a lifetime. Good evening, I'm Pia Hontiveros. Welcome to your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. Like I said, joining me here tonight on the show, our senior correspondent, David Santos. Hi, David. I was about to say, welcome back from Ayungin. Matagal ka na palang bumalik. And ABS-CBN News defense reporter, Bianca Dava. Hi, Bianca. Hello. Thank you for being here. Thank you to your bosses for allowing you to come on the show and to this network. So let's begin first with what we have on the table. Last Wednesday, Vice Admiral Abet Carlos was here, Westcom commander. So we had this nautical chart and the miniature model ships that they use for what they call voyage planning. And we're going to use this also tonight, just so that people can get a very visual, have a very visual appreciation of what you guys went through. Yeah. Okay, so first let's start at, where else? The very beginning, parang Sound of Music. Kasi matagal na kayong nangulit, ano, di ba? I'm sure tumatawag kayo sa mga Coast Guard, sa AFP. "Sir, isama mo naman kami sa Ayungin Shoal," di ba? David?
Well, first, definitely, kasi hindi naman madali to go to Ayungin Shoal. Unlike in many other areas, tama, Bianca, when you go to any part of the country, accessible siya, whether Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao. So, any opportunity to go to Ayungin or in any part of the West Philippines, alam naman na, let's admit it, government platforms lang nakakapunta dyan. So, yeah.
You cannot like rent a ship and then go.
No.
But there have been instances. Some journalists years back, they were allowed to go there, and from West Philippine Sea, Scarborough Shoal, they do. But for a time, for a time, medyo naghigpit ang government for some reason. Can we say kung bakit? But basically,
can you say?
I will, kasi during the past 6 years, medyo yung government was really, we know of stories from other journalists who were barred, literally barred from going to any part of the West Philippine Sea unless sanctioned by the government.
And why were they barred, Bianca? Would you know?
The previous administration really had a different,
different approach?
Different priorities when it comes to the West Philippine Sea issue. Yeah, so when that opportunity came po na may tumawag sa amin to join this resupply mission, really, you can't just say no to that. So
you do not say no. You say yes, no? So, gaano kabilis kayo lumundag?
I received that call 7:13 p.m. And then I immediately 7:13 p.m.
Talaga you remember the time, exact time.
7:13 p.m. And then that official told me na kaya mo bang magpunta ng Palawan? Sabi ko, "Sir, kailan po?" Tonight. Okay, bakit, sir? Kailan ba yung resupply mission? Tomorrow daw ng noon. So sabi ko, so I checked yung yung mga available na flights, and then yung flight na available that time was 9:40 p.m. na. So sabi ko, medyo alanganin to, sir. We'll take the first flight the following morning. And so I immediately informed my desk about it, even the head of the desk editors of ABS-CBN News, and they said yes. Okay.
Siyempre.
Gawin natin yung coverage na yan.
Yes, ganoon. So they assembled all your equipment. Marami ka raw. Ikaw ba yung may dalang satellite phone, etc.?
Satellite phone and Starlink.
Okay.
Yes,
hindi naman magamit doon?
No, because nung nasa Puerto Princesa pa lang kami, sinabihan na kami ng Coast Guard na you're not allowed to bring your Starlink with you. But then I did not say yes to that. Sabi ko, "Sir, equipment namin to. We can't just leave it here.
Right.
Ayungin is very far, Bataraza is very far from Puerto Princesa. Ganito na lang. We'll bring our Starlink but will not use it." Anyway, we will see naman kung ilalabas namin siya at gagamitin.
Okay, babalikan natin. David,
just quick context lang kung bakit ganito ka mabilisan. Firstly, by experience, problema ng ating government authorities how to keep all these missions very secret.
Yes.
So any information they release ahead of time, days before, baka mabulilyaso yung operation. So that's the reason why.
In other words, masyado tayong chismoso.
Well,
Baka mag-leak ka agad
no, but
yung information.
even the phones, we've been hearing from other officials saying na parang baka natatap daw yung mga phones, even especially of journalists.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why. And then also yung sa Starlink case, because nga ayaw nila ma-detect. So I think that's one reason kung bakit ayaw nila ibigay.
Okay, so like Bianca was saying, and ikaw din, David, no, the next morning you fly to Palawan, and then you went from Puerto Princesa to, what is it? Bataraza Island.
town.
But let's refer now to the nautical chart para we can see, no? So you flew in from, where's Puerto Princesa? Here lang, no?
Somewhere
Same.
here.
Okay, so you went by land to
Bataraza, which
It
is
was
about
a 6-hour trip.
6 hours.
land
Okay.
trip, sorry. 6 hours.
Okay. And then from there,
Yeah. Then from there, there's a port there, there's the Buliluyan Port. It's one of the, I think, Coast Guard stations. That explains why, kung bakit nandun yung dalawang Coast Guard ships na sasakyan namin that will escort the supply boats of the Navy.
And for purposes of tonight's episode, ito yung dalawang Coast Guard ship
Yes,
natin,
there.
yung Philippine flag.
BRP Sindangan and BRP Cabra.
Okay, which one is Sindangan, which one is Cabra, as if it matters.
Either way.
Either. Dalawa kayo, you were both on the same ship or different ships?
Different ships.
Okay.
I was on board BRP Cabra and si Kuya David, BRP Sindangan.
Okay, so for purposes of tonight's story, this is the Cabra, this is Sindangan.
Okay.
Sige. And then David, next. What
Okay,
happened?
so we arrived Thursday morning. Tinawagan kami Wednesday night. Thursday morning, mabilisan, travel to Bataraza.
Yeah. And of course, sabi ni
Spend the
Ed
night.
Gabut sa'yo, yes, go, ganon.
Hindi, of course,
Special
hindi.
kasi.
We need to check on the available flights and everything. So, yun.
Anong oras yung flight mo?
Logistics.
Yung night-
We took the
4
4 a.m. Nagkasama
4 a.m.
Actually, we didn't know kung sino-sino
Kung
mga
sino-sino
kasama.
talaga.
We were not
Sa airport,
told.
Sa airport
Okay.
na kami nagkita-kita. Oh my gosh, kasama ka kuya. Kasama.
Okay. So akala nyo lahat na exclusive sa hindi.
Hindi naman. I mean,
Okay.
I have an inkling na kasama, syempre almost automatic kasama ang government
PTV,
channel,
yes.
PTV.
Alright.
So yun. Hindi ko lang alam kasama yung ABS,
Okay.
other networks.
Okay. So sa Bataraza, doon kayo nag-briefing muna kayo? Is that what happened?
I think,
The briefing was in Puerto Princesa.
yes.
Okay. Yun na yung sinabi nilang no satellite phones,
Yes.
parang everybody quiet. Ganun ba?
No tweeting, no, as much as possible, no Viber messages, anything.
Okay,
Kasi
not
all
even
these,
to head office, to your headquarters, na wala.
We knew that we were gonna lose signal, so wala po talagang communication.
Saan kayo mawawala ng signal? Sa
Bataraza.
Bataraza?
yes.
Akala ko sabi niyo Coast Guard Station, walang signal.
Sa Buliluyan Port, walang signal. Sa Puerto Princesa, meron pa. But doon sa Buliluyan, walang signal.
Okay, alright. So, syempre, sumunod naman kayo sa utos or else hindi kayo isasama, right?
yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yes,
Technically, yeah.
Very good.
There's even a waiver.
Waiver.
That we have
Okay.
to sign.
Na,
That,
anong nakalagay?
I think the waiver stated na we cannot release any information prior to, I mean, unless there's a debriefing.
Yes.
Tama?
3 hours after the first information by the PCG was released to the public.
There's a reason for that, Pia.
Okay. Yeah,
Firstly,
I remember reading that news item.
the government, once you come back from the coverage, the government have to sort out all this information kasi ang purpose nun is to synchronize all this information para hindi raw iba-iba,
Yes.
which can lead to confusion kapag iba-iba yung mga reports namin.
Okay. So, from Bataraza to, you first went to Sabina Shoal,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Where's Sabina Shoal there?
Here,
Okay.
Sabina.
Yeah, syempre iisipin ng mga audience natin na parang ang laki-laki ng mga barko, ang liit-liit ng mga isla. Hindi. Or yung mga shoal. Okay, we'll explain that in a bit. But anyway, we're just going to take a very quick break. We'll be back in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Politics as usual. Still with us, David Santos of CNN Philippines and ABS-CBN's Bianca Dava. They joined that I don't know if you really should call it adventure. Parang adventure na rin, ano? To Ayungin Shoal in the West Philippine Sea. Of course, Ayungin, that's where the BRP Sierra Madre is grounded. Yun dapat yung i-resupply ng Coast Guard natin. So anyway, so nandun na tayo sa Batarasa, tapos papunta ng Sabina Shoal where you would link up, no? Now, for purposes of the viewers, para mas makita ng mga viewers, we brought out a bigger piece of white paper para makita nyo yung area. So ito, David, this one is Ayungin, right? So let's put the BRP Sierra Madre there. Tama ba? Tama ba yung scale natin? Ano? Yes, okay. And this is...
Close up.
This is the Sabina.
Sabina.
Okay, I'm going to write Sabina here. Sige, David. So from Batarasa to?
Sabina.
Okay.
How long behind natin?
Nasa 12 hours siya. Yes.
Okay.
Because
12
we're arriving-
hours. Wow.
Sailing.
Nasa vicinity na tayo ng Sabina around 10 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
In the evening. 10 p.m.
Okay. And what was the voyage like? You know, ninenervyos na ba kayo or excited, adrenaline rush? What was it?
That time para sa akin na nakakahilo pa.
Okay.
Yes, nakakahilo, yes.
All right. See.
And then we knew that time na wala pa yung kumbaga yung action talaga, like yung presence ng Chinese vessels. So medyo, at least sa ship namin, medyo chill pa kami nung time na yon. Nag-uusap pa kami ng mga kapwa namin reporters na ano kaya yung ating makakasalubong bukas. Like we were playing these different scenarios in our head na baka ganto. And then we were also thinking of the possible spills na gagawin namin that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Trabaho.
So chill, tapos medyo nasisisik. Ikaw, David, on the Cabra naman.
Yeah.
What was-
Sindangan.
Sorry,
Sindangan,
On the Sindangan. Okay. Which is ito yon, okay? Oo. Sige. Anong
So,
one?
kasama ko sa Sindangan si Chino of GMA and si
Chino
Patrick
Gaston.
of PTV. So, yun.
Okay.
Sailing,
So ganun din lang.
ganun din. Chill ba?
Yeah,
Chill.
walang-
naman nahihilo sa amin. Sa kanila mukhang may mga nahihilo pa. Pero kami naman kasi medyo
Okay.
we're used to,
Oo.
used
Pero,
to
and of course,
sailing.
like you said, wala pa yung mga Chinese vessels. So medyo relax na relax.
Yes,
Okay.
but there is that uncertainty, Pia. Kasi alam mo, sa ilang beses, remember, ilang years na rin, ilang dekada na rin, years na ginagawa ito. And almost every month sila nag-randorore or
Okay.
rotation and resupply mission yung mga authority, yung military and Coast Guard.
Yeah.
At least recently, there's always this question of uncertainty. Kung anong mangyayari every time na may rore. Kasi, di ba, nangyari yung water cannoning, tapos naman karoon ng laser pointing. So, ano kaya ang magiging strategy nila this
Magle-level up
time?
ba? Parang
Oo,
ganon.
oo. Kasi there were instances na wala naman talaga. I mean,
Right.
successfully nagawa ng government yung
Yeah.
RORE, but
No,
we were thinking of the
yeah.
scenarios.
Oo, pero successful. It's a very strange word. Successful
Actually.
pero hinaharas pa rin.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So, dumating kayo mga 10 p.m. sa Sabina. Pagdating nyo doon, nandoon yung etong...
Ito na. Yun,
The
yun.
resupply boats, Onaiza May 1 and Onaiza May
Yeah, we're going to show it there. Okay, so ito yun. Resupply
Yan yung
boats
position
yan.
namin.
Okay,
Yan.
position. Show the position. Okay.
Yeah.
Approaching Sabina, ha?
Yeah.
So, wala pa dito.
Oo, medyo malayo.
Balik natin dito para... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sige.
O, ganun.
Alright.
Di ba? Tama ba?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, ganyan. Although we arrived there so late in the evening, so wala rin kayong makita except the lights
The light lang.
ni
But you still sailed that same
Yes.
night? Okay. So from Sabina to Ayungin, how long? Sige, let's move this.
Sabina
Let's
to
move this.
Ayungin. The entire morning.
The
no?
entire yes,
Basically,
yes.
entire morning. Nag-umpisa, Pia, yung harangan, yung blocking, at around just break of dawn. No? Pagka putok ng araw, we saw all of a
So,
sudden.
Yeah. So if this is Ayungin, let's show it on camera, no? If this is Ayungin, this is Sabina.
Yeah.
Where were you nung nung nagpakita na yung mga Chinese vessels?
I think ganito yung position natin. Tama ba?
Yes, this
Yeah.
is
Ito yung,
Cabra?
No, this is
Sindangan,
Cabra.
Cabra, Sindangan,
Kaming
yes,
Sindangan, yeah.
Okay, so andito. And then, Bianca, paabot nga ng mga Chinese vessels.
These are the
Okay.
Chinese vessels.
Alright, so yan. Okay, so nasaan sila? Nandito sila sa likod.
Yes.
nyo.
Sa
likod.
Saan sila galing kung dito sa likod?
Well, we were told by the crew of the Coast Guard vessels the night before, nakapwesto na sila. Actually, even sometimes days before. Kasi parang nape-predict na ng China Coast Guard na magsasagawa ng RORE mission yung gobyerno natin.
Yeah.
So, because this is a recurring mission. So,
Yes.
parang nape-predict na nila what time, what day.
Yes.
So, kaya pumesto na sila dyan.
And I think yung pinakauna na nagpakita was 21556. It started out as parang dot or point lang siya sa horizon.
Is that the one? Is that 21556?
Ano, that
Hindi.
that the one? Parang
I think,
most
yeah,
likely,
21556.
Okay, wow. Yun yung sinasabi
Yes.
niyang dangerous maneuver.
Yes.
Right? Oh my goodness.
Basically,
Okay.
Pia, can you imagine EDSA? Bumabiyahe ka, you're in a car,
Yeah.
bigla kang kinat. Ganun lang yun.
Normal na yun sa EDSA eh.
Well, iba sa barko kasi
Yeah.
ang barko mas malaki, mahirap siya i-control. And then sabi nila, it's not that easy that
Yeah, you can't just, steer right,
yeah.
steer left. Oo. So itong mga ships ng Chinese, the Maritime Militia, the Coast Guard, they were going side by side sa inyo, port side, starboard
Yes.
side,
Yes.
kung saan-saan na lang.
ganyan. Pwedeng may ganyan, may ganyan.
Okay.
Tapos ganyan, sa likod.
Oh.
Tapos, paano sa inyo
Bianca.
sa Cabra, Biancs?
Sa Cabra, okay, so this is Cabra and this is Onaiza May 2. Onaiza May 2. Yung isang Chinese vessel, 21551, I can remember that, talagang pinipilit niya na sumingit dito.
Ah, okay. So in between, eto kayo,
Yes.
eto yung resupply vessel, dito siya,
Yes.
okay.
Pinipilit nila na sumingit dito. So kami, dumidiretso din kami na ganyan. And then there was one instance na talagang 3 meters na lang, according to the Philippine
3
Coast Guard.
meters? Oh
3
my
meters na
gosh,
lang yung layo nila.
Alright.
Pag ganun, sa amin.
Wow, wow.
Yes. And meron
Almost
tayong video
hitting
din,
the-
yes,
yeah, okay.
almost nearly ramming na the
Okay,
vessel.
3 meters. Okay. For the viewers at home or wherever you are, if you're watching your phones, you know what a meter is? 3 meters. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Yun ang layo. Okay. And then,
Not close. Kasi parang kasi sobrang for us, first timer in that place, in the situation, it was really tense for us.
Yeah.
Parang
Yeah,
we could
of course.
sense the tension. But notably, yung crew ng barko, they were so calm.
Very calm, yes.
No, kasi we
Yeah,
think
of
it
course.
because it has been happening for a long time.
And they're trained for that.
And
They're trained for that,
they're used
no?
to it.
Oo. Okay.
Yun.
So ito na nga yung sinasabing patintero. And David,
Yeah.
you had this very interesting phrase that you used, bardagulan, sa karagatan. So sailing on your starboard side, your port
Yeah.
side. Were you like, hoy, ang lapit nyo na? Meron bang ganon? At certain points?
Yes, even
Ayun
sa
na.
mga stand-uppers, mga spills, talagang na-timingan talaga namin na sobrang lapit nila.
You can see
Sobrang lapit nila.
di ba? You can see from our
Right,
background na parang
right.
sobrang lapit na nila. And then alam mo there were times we could see nagki-crisscross.
Yeah.
Kaya I use term
Bardagulan sa
sorry.
karagatan.
Bardagulan because nag-aasara na sila. Because at one point si Sindangan for a period of time, one direction kami lahat, I guess, towards Ayungin, parang nag-deviate si Sindangan. Binilisan
okay.
niya ang ating PCG vessel. Kaya, nag-break away siya from what seemed to be the route.
Yeah.
Tapos, hinabol ng Chinese.
Okay.
So naiwan. I think, again, this is my perception or speculation. Baka, they're trying to break away from
Yes.
kasi ayaw nila yung
Box in kaming lahat.
Right.
in
All
one
the 4 boats.
venue. So
All the 4
parang
ships.
Right.
para yung mga
Parang
Chinese
yung
vessels.
parang scattering the enemy, no? Parang yung target ng enemy nagiging dalawa, hindi lang isang buong grupo.
And that would allow kung busy po yung Chinese vessels, a number of them, at least 6.
4 China Coast Guard vessels and then the 4 Maritime Militia vessels.
Yeah.
Hinaharang po yung PCG vessels, then that allowed the 2 supply boats to sail to Ayungin.
Okay. At those points na kunwari, 3 meters away ang Chinese vessel dun sa the Cabra or the Sindangan, naisip nyo ba na, naku baka mabangga kami, kailangan namin tumalon? Pumasok ba yun sa isip nyo? Were you prepared for that? Were you briefed about that?
We weren't briefed about that, pero ako personally, naisip ko yan na paano kung mabangga kami, what's gonna happen. Pero yung naisip ko rin nun, basta I will just follow kung anong sasabihin ng Coast Guard. So kung sasabihin nila na pumasok, okay, pumasok, but I will keep the cameras rolling.
Okay.
But not jump because I don't know how to swim.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay, end of story.
End of story. No jumping.
Okay, pero may life vest naman siguro.
Kaya, may life vest naman siya.
Okay. Yung adrenaline rush ba, yung on a scale of, I was going to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, on a scale of 1 to 100, how scared were you? Or were you scared or were you angry? Were you irritated? Were you what was it? What was it?
Admittedly, I was annoyed. I was really annoyed. Kasi, alam mo, I don't know if I can say this, but I will say this anyway.
You say it in a very, very journalistic way.
No.
Yeah.
I was whispering to myself, sabi ko, Pilipinas, lumabang ka.
Yes.
Kasi parang, yung point na parang, shit, sorry. you cannot. sorry. Kasi in your mind, parang there's this struggle, you're being overwhelmed by many emotions.
Right.
Takot, fear, at the same time, anger.
Yeah.
Kasi bakit nila kasi ako naman, gusto ko rin intindihin, bakit ba nila ginagawa to? Kumbaga, okay, ako alam ko na yung stand ng Pilipinas eh. Pinaglalaban natin yung atin. Atin to, di ba?
Yeah.
West Philippine Sea.
Okay.
Pero why is China doing this?
Okay, but you're also asking that question because that is a question all journalists would ask,
Yes.
right? When you're doing a story, syempre you need to understand ano ba yung motives ng mga players dito, di ba? Bianca, what was the primary emotion?
Sa akin, at one point, natakot ako when I saw 5305. That was the biggest Coast Guard ship that time ng Chinese Coast Guard. Kasi sabi ko, ang laki niya. Ano mangyayari sa amin kung bigla kaming binangga nito? But then later on, mas nangibabaw yung galit, yung inis din. Kasi nakita ko how aggressive they were.
Yeah.
Parang hindi nga kami water cannon, pero ang aggressive nila, like hindi sila natatakot na i-cut yung path namin.
So it had the
i-block yung
same
path.
effect, water cannon or no water cannon, by cutting off the, right? Ganun
Yes,
ba?
yes.
Okay. Yung, meron bang may moments din that were light, right? Bianca, you had this very interesting selfie. Meron ka pang pagganyan. We'll show it now, no? Because you noticed na kinukunan kayo syempre, no? Tell us about that.
Nakita namin na ang dami nilang cameras. Tapos nakatutok, grabe makatutok. So kami parang, okay, kuhanan din namin kayo. And then there was one point na parang naka-stop na yung mga vessels. Tapos
Sige,
nakaganto.
show where are we at that
Parang-
point? And how near to Ayungin, ha? Okay.
According to the Philippine Coast Guard, we were 10 nautical miles away from Ayungin.
Okay.
Hindi na kami nakalapit talaga sa Ayungin.
Kasi hinaharang na kami.
Yes.
Yeah,
Parang
hinaharang
ganyan.
kayo at hindi naman kayo makakapasok sa shoal, di ba? Okay.
Ganon.
Yeah. Because of course, very mababaw ang tubig. Okay,
Yeah.
sige.
Parang
So, yeah.
nung ganyan na, doon na kami nag-picture na parang, okay, sige, pinipicturean tayo, mag-picture din tayo with them.
Okay. But did you know, were you able to, na-close up nyo ba yung mga mukha nila? Ano yung expression ng mga mukha nila?
They were serious.
Stoic.
Seryoso?
Yes, oo.
As
Okay.
in like, no smile. No.
no smile.
Some of our colleagues, sa side namin, Chino was doing his spiel.
Yeah.
Since he was greeting. Ni hao ma, ni hao ma. Parang, just to draw any reaction from them. Pero wala talaga.
wala talaga.
They were just using their binoculars or taking photos or video. That explains yung viral photo ni Bianca.
Okay. Were you allowed to, so at this point, eto na yung nearest point, right? So yung resupply vessels enter the shoal, no? So meron pa ba kayo nakikita at this point? Hindi na.
Wala na.
Wala na.
Masyadong
Sobrang
malayo.
yung-
Masyado ng malayo. Okay. So you were just told na na successful ang resupply mission, gano'n. So you weren't able to board these vessels earlier on? You have no idea what's in them.
No.
Nothing.
Some of our colleagues did, but ang kwento nila, these are basically supplies.
Okay.
Fuel, oil, food. Kung meron man daw some materials dyan for construction, ang sabi sa amin, it's for repair ng
Okay.
mga tulugan ng mga sundalo,
Okay.
yung mga
Alright.
but nothing really to,
Okay. So, bibilis na lang natin because naubusan tayo ng oras. Parang naubusan din tayo ng oras sa Ayungin. But anyway, you waited for them to exit Ayungin, tapos sabay-sabay na kayo. At that point, wala nang Chinese vessels? Or did they escort you out of the
Meron.
area?
They never left.
They never
Yes.
left. Talagang, so even nung pabalik na kayo, and we'll turn the ships around,
Even nung pabalik na ng Sabina Shoal, nandyan na yung dalawang resupply boats.
Okay.
The Chinese ships were still following us. They were still shadowing us.
Okay. So these are the two, tama ba? Ay, sorry. Okay. So they were just following you like you said. And then so syempre it took several hours bago kayo nakabalik ng Batarasa, tapos by land ulit to Puerto Princesa, then you
Yes.
flew back.
Yes.
There was a point na nag-debriefing, right?
Yes, yes.
It's a requirement by government to ensure that pare-pare. I mean,
Uniform.
they are not trying to tell us how we will do our jobs, but just basically the information like ilang vessels,
ilang beses nag-radio challenge.
Okay,
Para
so
lang-
they were also checking their information.
Yeah, kasi alam mo Pia, they are documenting this for diplomatic protests, for
Right.
So alam mo, kailangan din pare-pareho yung mga information natin.
Okay, and only after that debriefing and the following week, no Monday, that's when you could release your stories.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But anyway, I was just thinking, I'm sure meron na kayong file sa Beijing. Dava, Bianca, Santos, David. You're made, no? Congratulations. So, my last question na lang, no? So, two things. No? Did you feel that you told the story well? Because after all, you're there as journalists, no? Whatever nationality you are, you're there as journalists. And, being a journalist, of course, it doesn't make you immune from having opinions. The only, like any ordinary mortal. However, that doesn't grant us the license to share those opinions. No, we need to hold back considerably. No, so during that entire coverage, from the time you were told on the evening of September 5 until you came back to Manila. Did you feel that you were able to keep your emotions, even your patriotism in check? Bianca, you first.
For me, yes. Marami na tayong mga nakukuhang mga information from the Philippine Coast Guard, the AFP, saying na nangyari to sa resupply mission na water cannon, na harang ganyan. But it's different, and I believe na for the public then, it's different if they actually see someone, a reporter, a journalist, reporting there, na nakikita talaga nila na ganito yung nangyari, ganito kalapit sa amin ang Chinese ships. And as for the reporting, ako I really appreciate na lately, yung government din, nagbibigay sila ng mga seminar workshops din for journalists, not just for defense reporters, but also for other beat reporters, regarding the arbitral award, regarding our sovereign rights sa ating exclusive economic zone, because it gives us a better understanding of the situation on the West Philippine Sea, and what's at stake here, at na-apply namin yun sa aming reporting.
And Ayungin Shoal is ours, right?
Yes.
Okay. David, can you respond to the question?
I would like to believe na we did our best. I mean, given the logistics, the limitations that we had, we always try to give our best in everything that we do, especially if given a rare opportunity like that. Patriotism, paano ba? Like you said, as much as possible, we keep our emotions in check.
There are ways to express that anyway, right? In a report, even in a report.
Yeah, but of course, hindi umaalis. I am a journalist, but I'm also a Filipino. So I get affected by how things are affecting our kababayans, whether they are ordinary civilians or they are in government, trying to do their job also. So ako, when I was there, I parang kinalimutan ko muna temporarily yung mga sinasabi ng mga leaders natin, but look it from the perspective of our personnel na nandoon mismo in the front lines. Kaya if you remember, my spiel was more on what the ordeal. Kasi sila hindi natin naririnig most of the time. Most ang nagsasalita, yung mga spokesmen, yung mga government leaders, but yung mga umaharap mismo, they are not. So I wanted to report it from that perspective and at least give a preview or at least an idea to our kababayan na ito yung mga pinagdadaanan ng mga kababayan natin na humaharap sa West Philippine Sea.
Bianca, Dava, and David Santos, thank you very much. And I must say, you both did, and you and your colleagues who went on that Ayungin adventure did a very good job of reporting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being
very
here.
much.
Salamat. We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or the family reunion or in Viber groups and risk warfare, digital or otherwise. But we can talk about it here at this table on this show, your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Hontiveros. See you back here next Wednesday, 8 p.m.